Now in the background I can hear some of the puffin noises, the sounds that they make, kind of like a low whirring sound, kind of like that. Now if I start it off, they'll probably all start off and we'll have a symphony of puffins right here on the rock. But because I'm under pressure here, I'm getting eaten alive by midges, I have got to move on and we'll go to the next site and we'll have a look at some other birds that nest here. Long before man set foot on Skellig Michael, some 380 million years ago, this part of Ireland was situated 20 degrees south of the equator. With the onset of the Ice Age, from 100,000 years to 10,000 years ago, the landscape as we know it today was carved out. Landing at Blind Man's Cove, they begin the steep ascent up the very same steps built by the monks over 1,000 years ago. If the attraction to visit Skellig Michael is to see the monastic settlement at the top of the rock, then what unfolds is a wilderness, a sanctuary where close encounters with seabirds, including the Atlantic Puffin, are commonplace. Perhaps the real visitors to Skellig Michael, having visited it for thousands of years before man first set foot on this little piece of heaven, are the seabirds, who return year after year to rear their young. Early morning, the dawn of a new day, and already our painted beauties of Skellig Michael are making their way out of the burrows and nest sites to greet other puffins eager to get on with the day's fishing. Standing tall on precipitous ledges above the Atlantic swell, our birds with made-up painted faces contemplate the task ahead, finally launching themselves into the air. For those who stay at home, it's time to tend the nest and gather some new nest material. Although why this is so is unknown, as a puffin's nest is sparse. For other puffins, the attention of an unpaired male is unwanted, and if a gentle reminder in the form of beak dueling doesn't work, then the female steps in and finishes the job. Of course, staying at home is a vital task. Eggs have to be incubated and chicks kept warm. The ever-present threat of predatory seagulls is a worry for the adult puffin. Gulls patrol the grassy knolls looking for eggs and young puffin chicks. Showing no mercy, they pick chicks off the water and devour them in a single gulp. But preying gulls are not the only threat to the survival of our painted beauties. Rats and other invasive species can cause havoc. Perhaps the biggest threat to the health of the puffins of Skellig and other nearby nesting colonies is overfishing of sand eel stocks, which is severely depleting the staple food source of the Atlantic puffin. Some starve to death. Others have to take to fishing for alternative food sources, including a relation to the seahorse, the snake pipefish, with disastrous consequences. Longer than a sand eel, the snake pipefish ends up choking the young puffin. Something concrete will have to be done to conserve fish stocks at sea, because cause and effect threatens many species. So each bird takes it in turn to mind the nest, so while one is in the nest the other is fishing. And because it's the evening, the fishing partner is returning home now with sprats and very small fish which are currently unidentified, but they could be very small mackerel. So far, sand eels seem to be reasonably abundant. Puffins possess a raspy tongue with inward pointing barbs, enabling them to stop caught fish from escape. As the puffins return from sea, some take their time, while others hurry into the nest. Once inside, both birds feed on the sea bounty. When chicks hatch, it isn't long before they start feeding. The shape of a puffin beak is awkward, and so conventional feeding of the chick is not possible. Instead, the chick instinctively pulls the fish from the side of the adult's mouth. Sometimes the fish are dumped on the floor of the nest, and the chick feeds from there. Puffin chicks are covered in a dark feathery down, and only get their true feathers after a few weeks of being in the nest. This helps keep them warm. As a puffin's nest is sparse, any material brought into the nest is sometimes eaten by the chick. A sort of puffin Caesar salad. This probably provides additional minerals essential to the well-being of the growing newborn. I'm just at the top of the Skellig Rock here, and a sight that most people don't see is congregations of puffins as they come in the evening. It's now 9 p.m. and just right behind me, literally just past my feet, we've got about 6 or 7 beautiful puffins just resting for the evening. We're going to come back a little later on, probably around nightfall, which will be in another hour. Like, it's almost the middle of the summer, almost towards the longest day of the year. And when we come back, it's going to be dark. We're going to film in infrared, and we're going to just have a look and see what happens. Hopefully we'll get the shearwaters coming back. And earlier on, into some of the stones of the beehive huts, we heard the sound of the beautiful storm petrel. These are the small little seabirds that literally walk on the water. We'll have a look at them a little later on, and hopefully at night we'll get the adult male or female, it depends who's in there, in the rock, in the nest. We'll have a look and see if we can see the other parent coming back. And usually they come in under the cover of darkness. They're very secretive. And why, you might ask, are they secretive? Well, it's because they really don't want to be taken by some of the bigger gulls, like herring gulls, that you find around here at this particular time of year. Herring gulls, for instance, are very opportunistic birds. They're almost like in Antarctica, where you have the skuas. The skuas absolutely harass the living daylights out of the penguins. They steal eggs. That's exactly what the gulls do here. So if you come in under the cover of darkness, you've got every chance of surviving the nesting season here on Skellig Michael. It's at night that the spiritual aspect of Skellig and the significance of why the monks lived here comes to be realised. As the sun sets and nightfall descends, the lights of the Skellig and nearby Bull Rock come to prominence. It's just midnight. It's very dark. There's a lot of cloud cover. However, there is a full moon above the clouds, so you can just barely see the outlines of the rocks and the pathway that we're going up the steps. The reason we're here is because we wanted to come out tonight and just find out exactly what do the puffins and the other seabirds that nest on Skellig Michael get up to at night. And momentarily we lit up just a small area with one of our lights, and there was no birds apart from maybe 2 or 3 individuals that were lined up on rocks, but that's it. You know, there's nothing else. Now, there are birds flying around. We don't know what they are yet, but we'll have a look at them and see if we can identify them later. But just to my right hand side here, there's a pair of puffins in a nesting hole, and we're going to just have a quick look. Don't want to disturb them, but we want to have a look in and see, are they at rest? What do they do at night? So come on and have a look. Some puffins catnap, others stay awake, but for all intents purposes, The puffins of Skellig use their nesting burrows to keep safe and warm. Walking up the steps of the rocky precipices, a stillness descends. Thoughts of staying safe and not falling off the edge come to the fore.
It's incredible to think that only 2 hours ago at 10 o'clock, when we were coming down these exact same steps towards the lighthouse, that the place was inundated with hundreds upon hundreds of puffins, some flying off the rocks, some flying back again, some coming in from sea. So we've gone from a symphony of puffin sounds to virtually nothing. In fact, the only sounds that we can hear at the moment seem to be those made by storm petrels. We're going to see if we can find some of those now in among the rock crevices. The other thing that we think are flying around are the shearwaters, but we'll find that out a little bit when we get up to the top, in and around the beehive huts, because that's, if you like, the hotspot for the shearwaters.
Climbing higher and higher, we approach the entrance to the monastic site. Incredibly, we stumble upon a storm petrel, Ireland's answer to a hummingbird. Wings rapidly flapping, trying to locate the entrance to its nesting site. In almost complete darkness, it listens for the sounds of its mate, which guides it to the entrance.
That was the most amazing experience. I just came through the gateway into the beehive huts, and there, right up on a wall, was a small little petrel trying to get into its nest. What an experience. I've never been that close before to a small tiny little storm petrel who are making these incredible noises beside me, all around me. Amazing experience.
And then, a rare glimpse. A male and female storm petrel at rest in one of the stone walls of a beehive hut.
So here I am, I'm on the floor of one of the beehive huts. I'm inside, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and earlier on, when we visited this site, there was one shearwater nesting in one of the corners. Now, the shearwater is still there. I don't know if it's the same one, if the male has returned and maybe given the female a break, but what we've noticed is coming up the rock at night is that there's plenty of shearwaters flying around. So obviously there's many more shearwaters nesting here than you seem to realise during the day. That's why it's great to come up at night and just see what happens during the night time. And you're amazed because there's all of these other opportunities to see seabirds that are normally very shy, and you can get right up close to them and look at these in all their magnificence. This is an incredible experience, to lie down on the floor of one of the beehive huts and be right beside a nesting shearwater. Magnificent.
So the significance of nighttime at Skellig is such that the cover of darkness protects puffins, petrels and shearwaters, ensuring the future survival of generations to come. Darkness also provides the opportunity for newly fledged chicks to emerge and take to the sea before they are predated upon. Some chicks, like the shearwater, can be momentarily confused by artificial lights coming ashore. Their first instinct is to hide in the undergrowth of grassy knolls along beach upper tidal limits. Before long, they find their way back to sea. Just like puffins, it is not long before they fly south for the winter. Over the next year, they will hunt fish, grow, and return once more to their place of birth, Skellig Michael.